it should just be a regular day. If Facebook goes out for 6 hours, it shouldn't be devastating.
It's not Facebook. Everybody's like infatuated with Facebook. It's not Facebook. All Facebook is doing is getting your ad in front of eyes.
No, you have email, you have YouTube, you have, Google and those kinds of things that kind of take over and kind of cover you in those situations. I mean, Facebook's not going to go down forever, but you're still going to drive that traffic because you have all these other channels in place to drive it. Ever wonder how the e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they just know the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using the most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant email and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with your free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
You're listening to E-Commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso. Still in an Airbnb there, Manel. Still in an Airbnb.
I love that you have the you're in. It's kind of got that beach house feel to it. The bedspread and everything. It looks clear like you're in some kind of beach rental property.
That's exactly where I am.
Yeah.
It's actually worked out much better than the hotel, but I am really anxious to get out of here. So.
Yeah, next week's the big week. And by big week, I mean you're going to see me. So
that's right. You're coming down. Coming down.
Exciting. Golf trip,
baby.
So this week we had an interesting thing happen. Facebook went down for
Facebook,
Instagram,
WhatsApp,
all the things that Facebook owns, even that Oculus thing. Have you seen that Oculus thing that Facebook owns?
No.
It's the virtual reality glasses.
Yeah,
it's
I figured.
Really friggin' cool. Have you ever played it? I know you've never played it, you've never seen it, but it's really awesome. I played it. It's one of my buddies has it. Or his kid has it, and we played it. It was really friggin' cool. I was actually going to get one, but that went down too, I guess, because everything's online now, right? Those gaming systems are online. You download the game. So that was down too. And honestly, Jason, like, I didn't really notice it. I didn't even know it was happening until probably around 4 or 5 o'clock when I tried to jump into the ads. No, actually, we got a message from one of our clients that said Klaviyo was having a trouble integrating. So I jump in there and I went to go fix it. And it said, yeah, we know Facebook's down. Don't try to contact us. And I was like, oh shit, this isn't a Klaviyo thing at all. This is Facebook.
Yeah, it was funny because I was on Instagram and like I would try to read. So I followed in the past this rapper, 21-year-old kid named Little Pump. I don't know why I follow him. Like
sounds like an interesting choice. What is he?
He's just a rapper who just, throws money around all day and women all over him. But the funny thing is that there was this girl in my feed from his page because he has all these strippers. So it's like there's this girl like in a bikini or whatever she was wearing, like on her knees, kind of like, and it like that image was just stuck at the top. So I kept trying to refresh the effing thing and it wouldn't. I'm like, what the frig is going on? And then I went on the computer. This was like when I was watching my son when my wife was going to pick up my other son. So I'm like, what's going on? Then I went on the computer and I did it and it said like, obviously it wasn't connecting to the servers. And then it became like this whole big thing. And you know, it got us thinking, Kev, that, you know, it does, and not just Facebook, but anything, like, just like not relying on any particular platform, or putting your eggs in one basket, or using these platforms to pretty much run your business. This is like a good example why, you know, you should do everything in your power to have some redundancy. Now, you were reading an article about this, where the guy said, uh, basically said, look, it's not just Facebook. I mean, it could be, you can be using anything, any platform can go down, any SaaS platform can go down. And, you know, it doesn't happen so much anymore, but back in the day, Kev, when websites were starting to become, you know, big, you know, your servers would go down all the time.
Oh, yeah, remember that? It's like
It
it was
just
like a
doesn't happen
regular
really.
occurrence. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore because I
It
think
does.
these servers do have that redundancy you're talking about. And you know, at first when this whole Facebook thing went down, I was thinking about, you know, businesses, you know, losing money, or, you know, Facebook losing money actually, you know, on ad revenue and things like that. And the other things that are used just Facebook as the umbrella, right? Like you spoke about like this influencer guy on Instagram that you follow, or Facebook. Like that's where he gets his income from, right? Posting on social media. People using Facebook as their customer
Customer serve.
support, like their chat service as a customer support, all that like went away. And you know, we all say that, you know, we want to be independent from these things, and we want to own our customers, we want to own our traffic, we want to do all these things. And it's like there's several levels. I mean, your Wi-Fi, our Wi-Fi right now could go out. Where we don't have like a back. I don't know if that would be a thing to have a backup Wi-Fi for something like that, but a business in general to have a backup Wi-Fi service or a backup ISP. You mentioned the
Yeah,
payment
backup
processor, which is huge.
payment processor, email platform. I mean, you know, the problem with redundancy though, Kevin, is that it's sort of like life insurance, right? Where like you get it, or like maybe not life insurance, but car insurance. Like you get it, and just like you hope you never have to use it. And it just kind of costs you money until you do use it. And then after you use it, it costs you money again, because then now your rates go up.
Right.
But it's kind of like car insurance, where it's like, you know, you could with an like, so Facebook, let's just say they lost $1 billion for those 6 hours or whatever it was, right? Well, it's probably going to be less than $1 billion to have redundancy, right?
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had redundancy. This must have been,
This was huge. Yeah.
yeah, this must have been something else going on, but whatever. So, you know, you may say like, well, I'm just throwing money away, but at the same time, like, it probably would have saved them
Right.
$1 billion.
We're in the conversations right now about this whole health insurance thing. It's the same thing.
I was just thinking that when I was
my
saying
God,
that.
we're spending how much? Like $3,000 a month for the two of us to have health insurance. And, you know, I could go to the doctor and just pay the doctor and it'd be much less than that. But it's like when it happens, it's like, oh God, thank God I had that, you know, God forbid. Right. But like to think about it, like for us, Jason, I know we're not like the big corporation and those kinds of things, but like it was just a regular day for us. Like it didn't really feel like anything had happened, you know, because we had in redundancy. It's not like you have to have, okay, I have to have a backup for Facebook, like another Facebook to post to. It's like, no, you have email, you have YouTube, you have, you know, Google and those kinds of things that kind of take over and kind of cover you in those situations. I mean, Facebook's not going to go down forever, but you know, you're still going to drive that traffic because you have all these other channels in place to drive it.
Yeah. And I think, but you know, I think it goes back to, you know, like I would never use Facebook as a customer service tool. Like that to me doesn't make any sense. Because number one, not everybody's on Facebook. I mean, we get it all the time. People complaining that we do Facebook lives and they can't come watch the Facebook live because they don't have Facebook. And we're like, well, that's where it is. So I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, so, you know, I don't think that you should use these platforms as sort of like an integral part of running your business. I think that, it's funny because when you talk to professional marketers, right, or people who know what they're doing, they will never say that they use Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of these platforms to make money. They use them to gain or grab attention.
Mm-hmm.
And they use their offers and their emails and their landing pages to create the sales. It's not Facebook. So, in my course, The Truth About Facebook Ads, that's kind of exactly what I teach. It's like, look, it's not Facebook. Everybody's like infatuated with Facebook. It's not Facebook. All Facebook is doing is getting your ad in front of eyes. And, the more that, we spent $1 million of our own money on Facebook last year. And the more that I learned, the more that I was exposed to on Facebook, the more I realized that, like, Facebook, you have to know how to target. Oh, you have to know how to do this or do that, or campaign structure. At the end of the day, that stuff is just to optimize what's already working, right? Like, not really, changing, a setting in Facebook is not really going to change anything.
Yeah. And if you think about like the Facebook business model in general, like, yes, they want you to go on there. They want you to spend money. They want you to be successful. They want you to, have revenue from their platform. But the main purpose is really, they want you to stay on their platform. They want you to be there as long as you can so they can make money on the next ad that the person sees and the next ad. So you really lose control in a big sense. I mean, even not even that. It's like the people talk about SEO and organic listings and things like that. That's the same kind of situation. It's like you really have no control over it. Like Google can change its mind too. I mean, Google, I don't see Google going down. Has it gone down? Like, I don't remember a really big down period of Google itself, but
I don't know.
it can change its algorithm.
Yeah.
And then totally throw you off. It's, you're the listings that you have. So Amazon, same thing.
Yeah, that doesn't go down that lemonade. I'm sure they have,
Yeah, but you would think that Facebook would have similar, protection that
they
Amazon
do, but
has,
I don't think Facebook was a redundancy thing. I think when you see an outage on all of their platforms, there was, in my opinion, I don't know this. This is just my first thought is that it could have been something as easy as like internet being down, because if they're all right, because like if all of their servers are, like on the same quote unquote, like,
and you would think that they would all be separated too. Like
they are
all,
too.
like,
I mean, because they're different companies.
This is beside the facts, but like, it's such a weird thing to happen across all, because how are they all under one thing? Like, you'd flick one switch and they all go down.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, maybe it was more like an update to all of the platforms that addressed the same thing, which broke it. Who knows? Because maybe they're doing some sort of like, ad thing like that would go across all their networks, and it brought something down.
Yeah, I guess they're all connected in that way. I mean, when you post ads to Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. I guess Oculus maybe has an ad platform, and I would assume it will eventually. But yeah, maybe they were rolling out that into Oculus or something like that. I don't know. They don't have the details of it, but
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. My guess is like this wasn't like something that could have been prevented by redundancy,
Yeah. So,
but from I don't think we're ever going to be able to be 100% protected. I think at the end of the day, when your business is ran primarily on the internet, if Facebook goes down or Instagram goes down, or, it's going to be affecting your business in some way or another. I mean, if YouTube goes down, we're not on YouTube really. So like none of our businesses would be affected by YouTube if YouTube went down.
Ever wonder how the e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they just know the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using the most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant email and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with your free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
But they're
Yeah.
all on Facebook.
The payment processor thing that we bring up every month, like once a month, we'll talk about like payment processors. Be like, man, that would really suck. Like we have a recurring revenue model on our platform that we're kind of living on right now. And if that went down, like we'd be screwed, and it'd be a scramble fest to get something else back up and running. So to not have that redundancy kind of scares me a little bit.
It does. It's just, how do you get redundancy on subscription? That's where our problem is, because we'd have to have redundancy on those payments.
Yeah, I think there's just the main concept, and yeah, we have our own problems. And I think to your point, it's like you'll never be completely independent as you go down all the things that you depend on software wise to make Zoom. We don't necessarily rely on Zoom, but it is our primary source to interact with each other.
Well, we reply on, I mean, this is where we have our podcasts, but
yeah.
We do have redundancy. We have Google Meet. If anything happened, we can just jump on Google Meet. But why don't we, Kevin, come up with a real quick list of, because some people might want some specifics. A list of things that you can get redundancy or have redundancy on, which will limit some of your limitations. So one thing right off the bat for me, if you're a Shopify user, you're not going to be able to have redundancy on the website. But if you're using WooCommerce, you can.
But to that point, okay, so we talk about Amazon a lot, and I think that can work in reverse. Like, so we tell you not to rely on Amazon, right, as your primary source of customer. But if you have a Shopify store and your Shopify store goes down, you can then rely on some Amazon sales, right? So you can have your product in a marketplace like Amazon as well, to pick up the slack when something, because Amazon's going to be listing your product when someone searches your brand or things, just like your website. So I think that's where thinking about it that way, you can also work as far as redundancy is selling your products.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon is a good cash flow platform, but it's not. That's a whole nother.
But at least if your website goes down and someone searches your brand, they're going to be able to find you on Amazon, right? If it's there, if it's available, and if they really want it, they'll buy it there. So I think that's a good place to have like a backup plan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So website, if you're on Shopify, usually when you're on someone else's platform, you're not going to be able to build redundancy. I guess theoretically you can have a copy of the website and then just point, the server, the name servers to the new server. The problem is it takes 24 hours to propagate, which may be longer than the problem lasts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge tech guy, right? And we're talking about this at a I guess a lower level, like a more basic level. I'm sure these big companies, like with a team of developers that are just standing by waiting for these things to happen, that can like jump at the jump of a hat. Like when a hosting problem goes down with Facebook, I'm sure it's not like, okay, now we got to propagate to the other servers. I'm sure there's like a switch that just switches, like having like a generator in your house.
Yeah, but they have their own servers. They're not using.
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like when you're not at that level, these are the kinds of things that you need.
Yeah,
to
I
do.
mean, a lot of people use AWS by Amazon, but I don't know if Facebook does or not. But
And that
okay,
that
so
went down actually. That went down like within the last year. I remember the AWS servers just went down. I can't remember when, but I do remember it going down. So that's like another thing.
yeah, but going back to the list,
Sorry.
going back to the list, so your website, if you're on WooCommerce, you can have another server, you can have a backup server. We have it for the wildlife photography business. We have a staging environment that we create, which allows us to just switch over if we have any problems. We could do
It's on
that.
WP Engine, right?
Email.
That WP Engine does that.
WP Engine. Yep, WP Engine. That's right. WP Engine allows you to most cPanels will allow you to duplicate the environment. So email, we don't do this, but we should. You probably don't need to buy another email platform. What I would do is just download my list and then upload it to a new platform if something ever happened.
So you're
Payment
saying
processor.
take regular downloads of it on a regular basis, you mean?
Yeah, well, it depends on how fast it's growing. I mean, if you're getting one a day, I don't know that you have to do it every single day. But if you're getting 1,000 new subscribers a day, yeah, I would download it, for redundancy purposes. Then you have payment processor, which this is something we definitely need to think about for the journal. Is like having, if something happens with Stripe, our entire business doesn't go down. In fact, I've a number of people that I have, a number of products that I've purchased. People say that that's like the first thing that they do is they get a second or a backup payment processor.
Yeah, you hear horror
Which
stories
to
all the
me,
time with Stripe, right? I mean, just
keep
because
your
they
money for
changed,
6 months.
yeah, they changed your regulations. Like if you're talking about like a cosmetic company or something, maybe one of your ingredients in your products is on their restricted list or something like that, could totally just shut you down and stop processing payments.
Yeah. What else? Email, payment processor, server for the website. Um, what else, Kev? I mean, you're not gonna, it sounds a lot easier than it really is in real life. If you're using Facebook, a Facebook group, there's nothing you can do. There is not going to be any redundancy other than getting those people from the group on your email list somehow or another as you do things.
Yeah, to your point about email, maybe it's not like another email provider at all. Maybe it's like SMS or something. Maybe you have like a backup. You're also collecting phone numbers at the same time. Other ways to communicate with your communities is really the big thing.
Yeah. People on Facebook tend to be on Facebook. People on YouTube tend to be on YouTube, and people on Instagram. So you're not gonna, if you think about it, everybody has like their favorite platform, so to speak. And personally, I'm not a big YouTuber. I'll go on there, and watch some golf videos, but outside of that, I'm not really a big YouTuber. Mm-hmm. I would say, if anything, I'm on Facebook the most, and I don't even do that much anymore. So,
yeah, I mean, I think
what else? Any other?
Yeah, I think it's just like an eye opener, this whole experience that people went through. I mean, not as much me because we don't really rely on it like 100%, but like have just backup plans for all these sources of traffic and sources of revenue and sources of communication and things like that. You're never going to control it 100%, but you can have these multiple channels working for you if something like this does happen on one or more than one of them at a time.
This was our biggest problem with ClickFunnels. Whenever we say like, hey, we want to go try ClickFunnels, it's like,
I want to get on that 2 comma club.
Yeah. But this is the part where I feel like their platform needs some more reliability. There were times where we were sending traffic to a landing page and they did an update to the platform and it just boom crashed, like everything.
Yeah.
And it was happening more often than not, and it's kind of why, we, not that we stay away from ClickFunnels, because we kind of always go back to it at some point, but it's definitely a reason why we.
Yeah, that's landing page software, that's payment processor, that's email collection, that's all like in one platform.
Yeah, and then they had Actionetics, which is email. They were trying to get you to do everything, which I personally don't like. But that was like that's the biggest problem I had with ClickFunnels when we were looking to use them. I don't know if that's gotten better, but it's definitely something that we considered.
Yeah. And separating those things. I even think about like your website host, right? A lot of website hosts offer to just handle your email as well. But like if your website goes down, then your email goes down as well. And if having your domain in one place, your hosting in one place, and your email in another gives you some security. Like if your website goes down, at least you'll have, email available to you. That's why we use the Gmail suite to service our email. And we know that the domain will handle the email direction. So we know that just because our hosting and our website goes down doesn't mean like our whole email system will go down.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, again, as you make more money, the more this matters. But, and Kevin, by the way, you didn't tell me to bring this thing back down here. But it's definitely something, I would say payment processor, Kev, at the very least, is probably one of the most important things to do for sure, because without that, you can't collect money, you can't get your money. And a lot of people, it's funny because like a lot of people are moving off of Stripe and moving to these because that's a whole nother thing, but they tend to hold your money a little bit more than some of these other processors do, because they're not a real payment processor. They don't actually,
yeah, I mean, they made this kind of like a really user-friendly thing that you can just plug and play and kind of get it working really quickly.
Yeah, and my understanding of them is they're not like a network. Who's the big one?
Authorize.net.
Authorize.net. Like my understanding is they're not really an Authorize.net. They're actually like almost like a broker in between, or like a middleman in between. So they're kind of like going by their processors rules, not so much their own. So my understanding, don't quote me on that, but it's kind of why they're very like skittish about you being a good, like Authorize.net is much more flexible with the type of business you have. Whereas Stripe is very temperamental. They're very conscious of what you're doing, because they can lose their ability to process payments if they have too many people getting back charges, or chargebacks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to protect their own business.
Right. But from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are moving to Authorize.net because they allow a lot more categories of business. The downside is the time it takes to create an account. And that's why Stripe has been so, people have gravitated to it, because you can basically be taking payments in a couple hours.
Yeah. Hooks easy with Shopify. Shopify's already set up with it and all that. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is to try to protect yourself the best you can. Don't let one Facebook outage across Instagram, WhatsApp, and all these other things, kill you. I don't think it should just be a regular day. If Facebook goes out for 6 hours, it shouldn't be devastating. So, and amongst other things, just protect yourself.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
Attention e-commerce founders, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, marketers, and growth hackers. If you're working round the clock to build your dream e-commerce business, you need an e-commerce marketing platform that works just as hard as you do. That means you need Klaviyo. With Klaviyo, you'll delight customers and drive revenue at the same time, with personalized emails and SMS marketing campaigns that you can design and send in minutes. For more, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.